Now, in high definition, you're watching KFDM 6 News at 6 in HD.
A senseless act of violence against any one of us is truly an act of violence against all of us. And we want to thank Bryan, and we also want to thank his family for the ultimate sacrifice that they've made.
Bryan was not only the greatest brother anyone could ask for, he was my best friend.
The sister of Officer Bryan Hebert and the Beaumont police chief speaking to a crowd of more than 1,000 during the officer's funeral. I'm Larry Beaulieu. Good evening.
And I'm Bill Leger. Thank you for joining us tonight. More than 1,500 people, including law enforcement officers from across Texas and Louisiana, attended the funeral of Beaumont police officer Bryan Hebert. The 36-year-old officer was killed last Friday when a suspect involved in a chase crashed into his patrol unit on Dowland Road near Ivanhoe. We have a number of reports on the officer's funeral. 6 News anchor Ashley Gaston begins our coverage tonight.
One by one, the men and women in blue marched into the Beaumont Civic Center to honor Officer Bryan Hebert. People stood and watched while hundreds of law enforcement officers filled the seats.
He put his life on the line to protect so that citizens can be safe.
Beaumont Police Chief Frank Coffin thanked the crowd for the support the department has received since Friday when Officer Hebert was killed.
That the public can sleep safe in their bed at night because brave men and women are out there to take care of what needs to be done to keep everybody safe.
Chief Coffin said Officer Hebert left this world trying to keep others safe. His sister, his parents, and his fellow officers must learn to live without him.
You know, you always have to face your fears head on. And he would say, face your fears head on, and I will always be by your side, no matter what.
Holly Hebert said her brother always told her to stare fear in the face and overcome it.
He was my best friend. Wasn't supposed to be crying.
She tried not to cry during her speech. Holly said her brother would have wanted her to remain strong, as he did during the toughest times in his life.
Bryan was an inspiration to me. No matter, he could always make you laugh, but no matter what you were going through, Bryan was always there.
Holly says she will always carry her brother with her in her heart, and she knows his brothers in blue will do the same thing.
He's going to be missed, but all who knew him understand that he's in a far better place than where we are at today.
The crowd listened to the words of Bryan's pastor and leaned on one another for support.
He's not only a person that we admire, but also a person that we love. And we'll never be able to forget him.
Speakers describe Bryan Hebert as a man of honor, integrity, and faith who dedicated his career to his family and the community. In Beaumont, Ashley Gaston, KFDM 6 News.
Officer Hebert served 10 years with the Beaumont Police Department and was scheduled for a promotion to sergeant. He is the 17th Beaumont officer killed in the line of duty.
Hundreds of Southeast Texans lined the streets in various places along the more than 10-mile procession route. The route ended at the Oak Bluff Cemetery in Port Neches. It started in downtown Beaumont. 6 News reporter Ron Reynolds covered the procession, and he joins us now live from the Beaumont Police Headquarters with more. Ron?
Larry, the largest group taking part in the procession was the Beaumont Police Force. Dozens took the day off to travel the route, and a number of families did the same. They lined the streets from Beaumont to Port Neches, and workers even used their lunch hour to pay their final respects to Officer Bryan Hebert.
They were somber, wearing ribbons on their lapels, holding American flags, or placing their hands over their hearts.
We came to show our respect to Officer Hebert and to his family and the Beaumont PD.
Keitha Martell drove in from Nome with her sons and their fellow Cub Scouts. They found a place on MLK Boulevard in Beaumont to watch the procession and express their gratitude to Officer Bryan Hebert for his service to the community.
Anybody that has died in the line of duty, I bring my children out to show them what it is to pay respect.
Lois Trahan came alone. She waited on MLK to honor Hebert and to let his family know Southeast Texans care. She knows the sacrifices officers make.
I have a son that's in EMS, and I feel like, my life has been with first responders, and I feel obligated and to support the family of Officer Hebert.
In downtown Beaumont, office buildings were empty while workers were among the first to express their appreciation as the long procession exited the Civic Center parking lot. This was the start of the 12-mile route to Port Neches Oak Bluff Cemetery.
We're very lucky to have the protection of the police department. They protect our building just like everybody else's, but we just wanted to do something to give back.
Bryan Easley doesn't work downtown, but he brought his son to College Street to wait for the procession. Easley wanted to teach him the importance of paying their respects to those who serve and protect others.
I think it's important, especially at a young age. I want him to learn all about honor and commitment and what it's like to pay the ultimate sacrifice.
A sacrifice that cannot be repaid, but one that is worthy of honor.
Now, Officer Hebert will be honored here at the Beaumont Police Headquarters. His name will be placed on a memorial for officers who died in the line of duty. Hebert makes number 17. Reporting live in downtown Beaumont, Ron Reynolds, KFDM 6 News.
And the final leg of the procession was in Port Neches, where Officer Hebert was buried and where hundreds of people came to attend the graveside service.
Number 1, retire Officer Bryan Hebert's badge. Number 201, end of watch, July 8, 2011.
The officer's badge number 201 was retired during a graveside service at Oak Bluff Cemetery in Port Neches. The service began with bagpipes and a 21-gun salute. Hebert was a member of the Masonic Lodge. Members of the lodge took part in the service.
Law enforcement officers from a number of departments across the region, the state, and Louisiana came to Southeast Texas to show their support for Officer Hebert. 6 News reporter Lindsay Kovacevic explains they call themselves brothers and feel the same pain when one of their own dies in the line of duty.
Alvin, Rusk, Austin, Houston. Officers came from across Texas to pay their respects to one of their own.
We don't know each other, but there's nothing we wouldn't do to help each other out. Yeah. We drove 5 hours, 6 hours to get here. I'd drive a day to get here.
One by one, officers from across the state walked into the Beaumont Civic Center and took their seats. They stood out in their different uniforms, but no matter the color or design, they all had something in common. They felt the same pain, the pain they always feel when they look at the casket of a man or woman in uniform who died in the line of duty.
I've been on the honor guard now for about 11 years, and I've attended way too many of these functions, these funerals, and it never changes.
Patrol car lights led the way into Oak Bluff Cemetery, creating a special bond that links all of these men and women.
About the best way to sum it up, it's an honor. It hits us all in the heart. It's really hard. I didn't know him, but he's a brother.
It's like a community. It's a family. We, honor ourselves as a family, community, and when we lose someone, it's part of our family.
A family, not only to other officers, but to the family of Bryan Hebert, trying to overcome the agonizing loss.
It's something to remember. It's a beautiful thing. This funeral, seeing everybody get together and pull together for this, for the family.
Together to say goodbye. In Jefferson County, Lindsay Kovacevic, KFDM 6 News.
The number of out-of-town officers was so large, some had to sit in the upper deck portion of the Beaumont Civic Center to attend the funeral.
Law enforcement officers from other agencies helped patrol the streets of Beaumont to allow officers here to attend Bryan Hebert's funeral service. 6 News reporter Callie Desimone has that part of the story. She's here now with details. Callie?
Well, Bill, some of the officers came from Louisiana, but most of the officers who helped patrol the streets were local, from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office and the Port Arthur Police Department. Joey Polisa and his partner William Crane patrolled several areas of the Beaumont area to allow Beaumont officers to grieve and attend the funeral. They said the calls were not much different from what they handled in Port Arthur, but they did have to learn their way around the town. Polisa and Crane were not only the Port Arthur officers in Beaumont community. Several Port Arthur police and units from a few actually from Louisiana patrolled the streets and answered calls. Port Arthur police said they're honored to help and know Beaumont officers would do the same thing if the roles were reversed.
Whether it's here in Texas or in Beaumont or in another state or another across the country, it affects everybody. It's a very strong brother and sisterhood amongst us, and when it affects one, it affects all of us.
Port Arthur police say they're thankful for all the help they received from Beaumont police dispatchers and others who allowed them to keep the streets safe while Beaumont police attended the funeral of their co-friend and co-worker. Live in the news studio, Callie Desimone, KFDM 6 News.
Officer Bryan Hebert was a 10-year veteran of the Beaumont Police Department. He had served as a correctional officer before becoming a member of the largest police department in the Golden Triangle. 30-year-old John Nero is the man investigators say aimed his car at the officer. Hebert had just put down a spike strip on Dowland Road to stop Nero when police say Nero struck his car. Hebert was behind his trunk when he was hit. The officer was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigators say they had been at Nero's home earlier that evening after he assaulted his mother and grandmother. They say he told his family that he would kill everyone if they contacted police. Nero is accused of capital murder in the death of Officer Hebert. His bond is set at $750,000. He is expected to remain at Christus Hospital St. Elizabeth for another week before going to jail.
A memorial to Officer Hebert is taking shape on Dowland near Ivanhoe, where he was struck last Friday night. People have wrapped red and black ribbons around a utility pole. Red and black were Officer Hebert's favorite colors. Flowers, flags, crosses, and balloons mark the area near the pole. The tribute has become larger each day since Officer Hebert was killed.
And a reminder, you can stay with KFDM News and KFDM.com for continuing coverage of the investigation into Officer Bryan Hebert's death. Police are interviewing more witnesses and gathering more evidence. Prosecutors say the next likely step is to take the case to a grand jury.
In other news tonight, a former Nederland teacher has bonded out of jail on a charge of sexual assault of a child and improper relationship between educator and student. 35-year-old Reagan Hawkins turned himself into authorities yesterday and was released on bonds totaling $50,000. Hawkins is accused of having sex with a student. Hawkins denied any wrongdoing when questioned by police. He resigned last month. According to the arrest warrant, a 16-year-old girl told her mother about the alleged relationship and her mother called police. The girl says she was 14 when the alleged relationship began with Hawkins. Hawkins' attorney, Alan Parker, says his client maintains his innocence and disputes the claim that he outright refused to take a polygraph test. The girl says some of the incidents happened at Nederland High School and during a school trip to Oklahoma. 2 other students gave police statements that the girl had confided in them about the alleged relationship. Again, Hawkins denies both charges. Chance of rain remains in the forecast. Carrie Cooper is here now with our first look at that forecast. Carrie?
That's right, Bill. We had a couple of showers today, otherwise pretty hot, but highs in the mid to upper 90s. It's 86 degrees now down at Sabine Pass School. But, Bill, you're right. The rain chances will remain in the forecast, actually increasing a little bit by the weekend. We'll talk about it in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Gary. Coming up on KFDM News at 6, the drought is so serious in one part of the state, barbecuing is outlawed. Also, trash burning. We'll have details.
Firefighters are injured battling a house fire in Beaumont, or rather in Dallas. We'll tell you about that and more next.
4 Dallas firefighters were rushed to the hospital this morning after battling a house fire. They were injured when the roof of a burning home collapsed. The firefighters suffered minor burns and smoke inhalation. The home was vacant, and arson investigators are looking into the cause of that fire.
And other parts of Texas are taking precautions due to the drought. Smith County has banned trash burning, fireworks, and even certain grills are off limits. Gas grills are okay in Smith County, but charcoal grills off limits, and you could be fined. The outdoor burning ban will last at least 7 days in Smith County and could be extended.
It's bad you can't barbecue.
Yeah, I know. Kerry, you've heard the drought stories, I'm sure. A friend of mine caught about an 8-pound catfish the other day, but it had ticks on it. So.
It's that dry.
It's
no, you're
that
right.
dry, yeah.
I don't see any relief for those folks at all in Central or North Texas, even West Texas. But for us, a few showers coming up, a little bit of an increase by the weekend. We'll talk about it up next.
Now, KFDM meteorologist Kerry Cooper with the latest weather in HD.
Well, another hot, humid day across the region. We had high temperatures in the mid to upper 90s again. Right now it's 91 degrees at one of our newest WeatherNet stations. These are live current conditions at the Orange County Airport between Bridge City and Orange, and they reached 97 degrees this afternoon. Now let's take a look across the state. We had fewer showers and storms today than what we saw yesterday. The reason being, of course, yesterday high pressure was off to our northeast. It's now built back into Texas. It's kind of repositioning itself, getting ready to make its move into the northern plains and central plains this weekend. So still all the moisture off to our east, some heavy storms in southern Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. Eventually that will reach us. We'll have a little bit better chance of showers and storms tomorrow, up to 30%, and that'll jump to a 50% coverage coming up by Friday as an upper level disturbance works in from the east. You can see that disturbance moving through Arkansas now, producing very heavy showers and thunderstorms there. That's the system that'll be in our area coming up by Friday, and we'll continue with a chance of showers into the weekend as well. Lots of heat across central and north Texas, lower 100s, in fact 102 Abilene, 103 in Dallas. Center of high pressure in northwest Texas shifting to the north into the plains. It looks like a big heat wave shaping up for much of the central half of the country coming up by next week. 96 in Houston, 91 at the airport, 89 over in Lafayette. The airport reached 97 as well as we did here at Channel 6. Lufkin 103 this afternoon, lots of heat up to our north and west. Victoria even close to 100 this afternoon. Now across the nation, lots of showers and thunderstorms in certain parts of the country. A little bit of severe weather. In fact, a tornado watch in effect for extreme northwestern Kansas. Scattered showers continue out over the west, and some showers and thunderstorms up and down the east coast with temperatures in the 80s, except Atlanta at 93 degrees, 83 Kansas City, and this is the part of the nation here that's going to see some real hot weather coming up by the weekend into next week. Marine forecast, seas will run 1 to 2 feet, south winds up to 14 knots, water temperature 87. No rain expected tonight for the lakes, just a humid night, mid-70s for lows. And tomorrow, look for a 30% coverage of showers and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 90s, close to 100 in a few spots for the lakes. And for the triangle tonight, can't rule out a shower toward morning along the coast. Otherwise, partly cloudy and humid, mid to upper 70s for lows. Another hot, humid day tomorrow, but I think we'll see a few more storms than what we saw today. The coverage is 30% tomorrow with highs in the mid-90s. Rain coverage jumps to 50% for Friday, and still some scattered showers around over the weekend at 40%, so that's good news. There'll be some hit and miss showers coming up the next several days.
Friday's exciting to me. Half of us
Half
will see
the area
rain.
should see some rain Friday.
I'll see some, Bill won't.
That's the way it works.
I'm not greedy, but...
And you have more jokes we'll have to tell later, more drought jokes. I don't know where you picked them up, but they're hilarious. Just ahead, the new Kelly High School football coach has 19 days to get the game plan together.
KFDM Sports up next with Mike Friedman.
Now, KFDM Sports in HD with Mike Friedman.
19 days, that's how long or how little time we have before area high schools will begin the first of two-a-day fall football workouts. And for the Bulldogs at Kelly High School, that's 19 days for their new head coach and athletic director, Clint Hartsfield, to get in, get ready, and get rolling. Coach Hartsfield has been at St. Anne's for over a decade, and in our exclusive interview with the new Kelly head coach, he explained why now he's making the move.
Well, I've thought about it for, I've been at St. Anne for 12 years, and, you know, we've had a couple head coaches come and go, and I've thought about it over the years, and I think this was the time. I got a boy, he's 8 years old, and he goes to St. Anne, and he's kind of grown up now, so I figured this is as good a time as any, you know, and I've been looking forward to this, watching this group of kids. They were real good at St. Anne, a great bunch of athletes. They really worked hard, and I just feel blessed to be able to coach them their senior year.
From the Cincinnati Reds, Jay Bruce.
Major League Baseball's best were in Phoenix last night for the 2011 MLB All-Star Game, and Beaumont's own Jay Bruce soaking it all in. Bruce, in his first of what he promises not to be his last All-Star Game, saw action in a pinch hit appearance in the 8th inning. Jay got ahead of the count but got caught looking on a full count to end the frame. Jay then went into the game in right field and made sure all the other All-Stars respected his arm. And for the second straight year, the NL will have home field advantage in the World Series, winning last night's game 5-1. During last night's broadcast, Bruce was all the buzz on a national stage by the guys calling the game.
At 2 feet right through the hitting zone, he's as quick as anybody in the major leagues. And those are his words, that Jay Bruce does not know how good he's going to be.
And when you get that from somebody like Charlie Manuel, that means something.
He knows the art of hitting about as well as anybody.
Well, many are hoping the NFL will be announcing an end to their lockout soon. For the NBA, that's a different story, and with players and owners supposedly on very different sides of the bargaining table. Players in the league are talking about taking their talents overseas. Beaumont's own Oklahoma City Thunder's Kendrick Perkins was in town last week to talk about his upcoming camp and, of course, about his future with the lockout in place.
You know, sooner or later, we're going to have to reach in the middle and come to agreement, but right now either side is budging, and, you know, it's really out of your hands. So at the most, you see guys talking about going overseas for a few months and stuff like this. So a lot of guys may do that just because, not to lose their rhythm, and when they come back, or you know, whatever. It may be a money thing where you can't turn it down. You know, if somebody offering you 3 months and $1 million a month, how can you turn it down? It's tax-free going overseas. You can't turn it down. So.
He makes a good point. If the money's there overseas,
it's $1 million point.
I'll go there for 3 months and $1 million a month. I don't play basketball. I'll do that.
I'll come watch you
yeah,
or
exactly.
something like that. And that women's soccer team today.
Yeah, 3-1 winners over France. Good for them.
All right, we'll check the winning weather with Kerry Cooper in a moment.
That is right after this look at the day on Wall Street.
All right, hot today, rain chance tomorrow.
Yeah, at least some scattered showers and storms returning tomorrow. 30% coverage, up to 50% Friday, and still a 40% coverage over the weekend. And that's good news because everybody needs the rain.
I decided not to be so selfish. I'm going to share my rain with Bill. If I get a shower, I'll give him half of it.
Thank you, Larry. Do your one final drought joke that you had.
Oh, I saw a mosquito the other day carrying his own canteen. In fact, That's how dry it is. How dry is it? Well, that's how dry.
We need like a laugh track.
We need to leave. The Wheel of Fortune is next. Have a great evening.
We'll see you at 10. Good night.